China's bursting housing bubble is summed up in a viral video as officials tell citizens buy one property, then another, bought a second, buy a third, and a fourth. Guys, I wanted to make this video to kind of outline what the hell is going on over in China's housing crisis. So I don't know, do you guys know a little bit about it? If you don't know about it, this is very, very interesting, very different than anything like that would happen here in the United States, because their economy is totally different, and how they buy houses is totally different. So to give you an idea, in China, to buy a house, like a new development, right? What you need to do is you need to put like 30 to 50% down, and you give this money to the development company, to the construction company. What they end up doing is they take all these down payments of every condo that was sold, right? And then they build the house and the apartment complex. So what they also do is then they go to the government or to their Fed, and then they borrow money, but they have been getting like very cheap loans for a very long time. And the problem has kind of been that now China's economy kind of slowed down, so then the banks stop giving the money to these builders with these very low interest rates. They're kind of like, hey, you guys have been kind of borrowing way too much for too cheap, and we gotta rein it in a little bit because our economy is slowing down. So the banks are starting to freak out, right? So anyways, so now all these construction projects were like halfway built, and the home builders were like, dude, if their money basically dried up because they couldn't get those loans anymore for that cheap rate, and they were still holding all the down payments from all these people that bought apartments, but without that money from the banks, basically they had to stop their construction. And now people are pissed, right? Because basically, imagine, right? You buy a house, you put 30 to 50% down, you have a mortgage on the rest of it, and the house is like basically not even being built, right? So people are super pissed, right? So what they did is basically they all united, a lot of people, and they said, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay our mortgage. This is BS. Now here's the problem, that you know how in the United States we have our credit score. And basically our credit score in many ways depends what kind of a rate we're gonna get when we ask to borrow money. If you got a low credit score, the banks are gonna know that you're not the best in paying back the loans, and they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg. They're gonna ask you for more down payment and higher interest rate. Now, if you got a great credit score, the banks are gonna be like, hey, we trust this guy. This guy always pays his bills on time. Well, in China, they have something very similar. And they basically, a lot of Chinese people, they don't want to be put on that, deadbeat list, or the low credit score version, and because it really does hurt them in many ways, right? So the fact that these people are getting together and they're threatening not to pay their mortgage, is they're still paying it, but they're basically telling the government, it's like, hey, this is not fair, right? You guys need to fix this. Now the government has somewhat pledged to go in and fund the builders what they need to finish the projects, but it's also the problem is also it's outlining a bigger economic problem in China. A lot of Chinese people, most of their wealth, for the middle class is in housing, right? So now that housing is kind of going through this crisis, people are scared. Their economy is slowing down. They are having high inflation. Remember, with coronavirus shutting everything down, it really kind of threw their economy into like a hurricane kind of situation, because they were very strict compared to the United States. They were a lot stricter. They shut down like everything. I mean, we saw it here when things stopped coming, right? So they're going to have long-term implications for how they handle that pandemic in general, and what is how their economy is going to fare over time. Now, can it bleed over to us? I think it can in many ways, because we do a lot of business with China, guys, a lot of business. And if China's economy starts going through high unemployment situations where their GDP keeps shrinking, and basically those products might become more expensive for us to buy. That could be kind of a problem for us. They also are a big leader, economic wise around the world, right? So you can see that economy starts to shrink. Well, it's going to shock the entire world, right? Because we're all somewhat interconnected. And remember, the Chinese have bought a lot of our debt. So we're very connected with the Chinese economy. What is it? How will it spill? Well, I think it's just going to be, that domino effect. Right now, we know that Europe is going through really high inflation. Again, a lot of their countries shut down, during coronavirus. They ended up having to print a lot of money themselves. So they're seeing the effects over there. China's seeing the effects in the other side. We're here in the middle feeling the effects of inflation. And, it's kind of all crazy, but it's all kind of interconnected. So will this spill? We're going to have to monitor this very, very closely, because this could be a big, big story. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this article down in the description below, but also I'm going to have another article here that talks about what is going on. They kind of explain it's a question and answer situation, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. So again, you know what? Things are kind of moving really fast right now. And you really got to pay attention to everything, not just, in our country, but the countries around the world. You got to look at Canada. Canada's kind of going through their own inflation and their own housing crisis. We got Mexico below us. They're kind of going through, a lot of problems also. So we're all kind of interconnected, and we all have to monitor every situation to see how eventually it's going to affect our community. So again, crazy stuff going on, but it's good to be informed. Now, I just want to say a big, big thank you to everyone who's been supporting my channel, liking my videos, commenting on my videos. I just want to say thank you guys so much. If you're new to my channel and you enjoy what I have to say, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button and go ahead and like and leave a comment. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.